Right, let me show you something. I'm going to change this road layout slightly. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to hook it up. This is how I'd got it hooked up before. Okay, I'd got that hooked up to there, and I didn't have this. Right, so it was just hooked up like that. Okay. Now, the problem with having it hooked up like this, and we're just coming up to the rush hour. It's 6 a.m. So we should start. Now, you'll see. I wonder if we can actually see in the light. We've got traffic lights here, right? So the traffic that's coming in from the region has to stop at these traffic lights. And look, it builds up, and that's just going to get worse and worse. Now, like over 24 hours, you'll probably be okay, right? Because like at night time, it'll disappear. But look how quickly that's backing up, right? So let me pause that, right? And it's just because of one set of traffic lights with these guys making this left turn. Okay, so where you've got an entrance like this, don't put in a connection midway. Okay, so put in little road there, little road down there. Get rid of that little bit there. Now watch what happens to the traffic, because this is like just awesome. Now there's no traffic lights, so they don't have to stop, and you just get a continuous stream of traffic, and pretty soon this will have gone completely. Almost gone. And we're maxed out for like rush hour commute. And no problem, it's not backing up at all, because you just get a constant flow of traffic, because the traffic doesn't have to stop. So there you go, little tip there. If on your highway entrance, avoid having that joining midway. Do it at the end. Okay, what else? I had several questions about things like tech. Right? Should you go low tech, high tech? What's the best? See, I think it's a little bit of a balancing act. I like to go for the medium tech. So these are all tech level 2. Okay. Tech level 2 are a little bit cleaner than tech level 1. Obviously not as clean as high tech. But the problem is that the higher tech you go, the less profit you make. Okay, so it's a balancing act. Personally, I think it's worth the reduction in profits to get a slightly cleaner environment. That's what I think. But it's a judgment call, and you decide for yourself with your individual city. Now, wealth, because people have said, why are you avoiding medium wealth? Wealth does make a big difference to your residential profits. You want low wealth, medium density. That will give you the maximum profits. If you start changing the density, so like high density, you'll get less profits. If you go to medium wealth or high wealth, you'll get less profits. So just stick, if you want to maximize your profits, you stick with low wealth, medium density. Now, another little tip: when you've got your city like built and finished, right, and you're just running it and optimizing it, take a look at your shoppers. Okay, now you want to make sure that you've got over 50% satisfied, and if you're a little bit shy of that number, a little bit short, then what you can do, you can pop in like a couple of high density buildings. And what I've done, let me bring up the zoning so you can see. I've put in like just a little bit of high density road there, right? Just 2 high density buildings And then I've actually got rid of the medium density that were in the middle from both of these sections, and then I've got two more high density, and the same thing, you just delete a little section of road. Can't quite see that one, can we? There we go. Just delete a little section of road and then zone in a couple of high density buildings, and you can put in like 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever to balance out that number. Wrong one, this one. To balance this out so that everything's comfortable. Okay, so what you're trying to balance out is your industrial freight, and you want to balance that out with your keeping your commercial happy, keeping them supplied with Omega, and keeping your shoppers satisfied. So that's just a little tip. So, and the nice thing about putting in like a couple of high density, because the commercial high density are a little bit slimmer than residential high density, so you can put those in and they don't take up a massive amount of space, and they allow you to satisfy a hell of a lot more shoppers than the medium density. So you can actually replace a whole bunch of medium, and then you've got more residential, which means more profits, because residential makes more money than commercial. Okay, so when you're maximising your profits, and I haven't tried it, but you could theoretically once. And now, don't do this until you've got all your drones in place, your shopping drones, because if you start doing this like early on, you'll probably have a bit of a traffic nightmare with all the shoppers going to these locations. And I wouldn't do. I think if you did it everywhere, I think if you did this on all the rows, you'd probably start to have a few trafficy problems. But hey, if you want to try it out and let me know how you get on. What else? Okay, I want to talk drones for a minute, because I have become a total convert to drones, and like Medi drones. Medi drones, I think, are absolutely awesome. I can't recommend them enough. I was really kind of reluctant at first. I was like, yeah, are they any good? But having used them a lot now, they're excellent, because what they do. Let's bring up the health map so you can actually see these guys. What they do is they go out and they treat injured people, and rather than the ambulances bringing them back to the hospital, they just treat them, and boom, they're fixed. So it means that you need less hospital beds. So they really pay for themselves. Like I think I told you before, I had three hospitals. I put in the Medi drones, and I've been able to get down to 2. So they're awesome. The law drones as well. I've done the same thing with that. Now, this is the only police station I've got. I've only got 4 police cars. I've got 1 police helicopter that, to be honest, I probably don't even need. And I've put in the 2 law drones, the 2 law drone bays. And our crime is like nothing. And again, I've only got 10 prisoners in jail, because again, they do the same thing. They go out and they magically turn the criminal into a non-criminal, and they don't go to jail. So again, they're awesome. Drones are sweet. Now, the only thing that I'm kind of ambivalent about is the fire drones. Now, I've been trying out the fire drones, and let me switch to the fire view, because this is quite cool, actually. Okay, when a fire happens, what happens is all the helicopters go out to the fires, and all the drones go out as well. But as you can see, the helicopters get there, and a lot of the time they put the fire out before the drones have had chance to even get to the fire, right? But like, especially if you've got any high density, the helicopters take a while to put out the fire. So what happens is you'll get the helicopter goes out, that starts putting out the fire, and then the drones come along, and they're very effective at putting the fires out. And they pile in, finish the fire off, and if you look at this, this is saying 31 of 31, right? That means that we have not lost a single building with this setup. So I've just got 3 helicopters and the 2 drone bays. And another nice tip, that the drone bays actually fit where the fire truck that comes with the fire station was. So if you demolish that, put in your 2 drone bays, they don't take up any extra space, which is very cool. So I've got to say, drones, use them. They're really, really good. Like I said, I was kind of reluctant, but I've become a total convert. Love them. What else? Can I think of anything else? Was there anything else I was going to tell you about? No, I think that's it. So now it's time to take a look at our pollution situation. Now this is going to take some time, but let's see how we're getting along. Ooh, look at that. We're already starting to see white patches forming. Now that is excellent. Now it just depends like how big they're going to get, and I'll continue planting the trees round the outside, and we'll see what we end up with. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to time lapse it, and we'll come back to it when we've sort of reached the maximum. Okay, so this has run for quite some time. As you can see, we're over the billion mark now. So money's good, but that's about the only good news. The results of this are kind of mixed, and I'm going to start off with the garbage, because this doesn't make any sense at all to me. Look at the garbage situation. Oh, actually, look, we're getting red stacks. Where are we now? This is like, what, year 17? 17 years, I've never seen a red stack in here. I put in these garbage things, which should process more garbage than the burners, and we've got red stacks showing up. So, I cannot explain that. You know, these are supposed to process more garbage, and they seem to be processing less. So they're going. I'm getting rid of those, and I'm going to see if I run it on a bit longer, if the burners actually work better than the atomizers. And it's not a control net issue. We've got control net. And as you can see, I've moved this over to this side, and I think that is actually the perfect location. And the reason I moved that is so that I can have some trees down here closer to the factories. Okay, right, we'll see what happens with that. And we'll see what happens with our general garbage situation. Getting red stacks is really bad news, because that's when you start getting pollution. Let's have a look at our pollution situation. And look, see, as soon as you start getting red stacks, you start to get pollution in the residential, and that's bad news. That's really bad news. Now down here, the garbage scrubbers, I did put a 5th scrubber in, because I had room for one, so I put a 5th scrubber in. A mixture of trees around the outside and the 5 scrubbers have cleaned this up like enormously, so great job for them. But let's take a look at the health situation, and basically hasn't changed at all. It's like still 1,000 and around about sort of 50-ish sick. So if we look at our hospitals, um, we've got 268 of 350 and 165 of 350. So I can't really get rid of a hospital. So I've got to say that if we're looking at this from a profit perspective, then it's not worth doing. It's not worth cleaning up this area, because even though the ground pollution has gone, look at the air pollution. The air pollution is just as bad as ever it was. Okay, and a lot of these injuries are actually being caused, I believe, by Omega. So there's no kind of getting away from that. So if you're going for aesthetics and you want a clean city, this is a great idea. It works really well. The ground scrubbers are really effective. If you're going for just for a pure profit city, don't bother. Just run it dirty. There's just no point whatsoever. Okay, so that's that. Now, you're probably wondering, I've jiggered this about a little bit because I've moved one of the trade depots down to there to create a space so I can have a mega tower in here. Now, why do I want a mega tower in here? Right, I'll show you. This is for repopulating. So rather than knocking buildings down to repopulate students. Oh, and by the way, like if we're losing students, then you can be pretty darn sure that we're also losing shoppers and workers. And I think that's the cause of our worker issues. Because if the workers have disappeared, then what's going to happen? Well, you're going to get worker shortages over here. But also, the buildings are going to complain that they haven't got people in them who are working. And so the message that you'll get is, couldn't find work. Even though there's no people to find work for. So this is definitely a missing persons issue that's kind of really messing things up in this city. So like a quick and easy way to repopulate is, and I've got rid of the level on here, like pop a level in, right, and let's just let that build. Okay, now go to the population map. Right, we've got like 1,200 residents and 200 kids. Now what we're going to do is let the residents go off to, so the kids have gone off to school, and now I want the residents to go off to work, and you can see these blue cars coming out. Come on, go to work. Okay, so let's get down to about 200. So we've got about 1,000 workers, well, 1,000 workers and shoppers. Get rid of the apartment level. Those workers and shoppers and students who've gone off to jobs and whatever will now go and populate any empty houses, and you can keep doing this until you've got, you've repopulated your students and your workers and your I mean, shoppers actually we don't need, because we've got drones in all of these buildings. And in actual fact, you will see, if you watch it, that the shoppers that have gone up here, because they've got nowhere to go, they'll start to leave the city. And any excess workers or excess students or whatever will disappear. So you can see There's some going, but those are actually, because it's, yeah, it's 8 p.m. These are probably commuters going back to Hawks View. And if I pause it, let's just confirm that. Yeah, going back to his city, so he's going over to Hawks View, and that's probably, yeah, going back to his city. Yeah, so those are commuters, which is what I would expect. Now that's fine. We can repopulate, but we're still losing workers and students, I've noticed. Now, we've got no regional transport in here, so we can't blame that. And this is why I say that that's definitely one reason that we're losing people, but it's not I don't think it's the only reason. In fact, it's definitely not the only reason. And I'm kind of at a loss to figure out, like, what on earth is going on. But hey, it is what it is. So I'm still going to go ahead and put the maglev in, because I think the maglev's cool. But I'm going to say goodbye to the ground scrubbers, because for this city, as a pure cash cow city, there's kind of no point, because it's all it's going to do is cost us like 5,000 an hour, and it just doesn't help. So not doing that. Okay, so like the whole academy experiment for aesthetics, yeah, great. And if you're trying to combine industry with kind of like medium wealth or high wealth or whatever, then yeah, but not for profit reasons. Okay, it's time for some maglev.